Okay, so we're all done with the About Us section, which we made in the last video. If we scroll down on the final project, this price list section is going to be a little bit more detailed than the one we just created. We have some different size columns for layout, which have the images on one side and also the prices for each type of treatment available on the other. And this is the section which we're going to be creating now over in the index.html. We'll begin by creating a familiar title and image, and we'll do this inside of our container and first row. So just after the About Us section that we created, let's scroll down to the very bottom, then add a comment. This is going to be for our price list section. Okay, so just below this, we can add our div, which will follow the same structure as before. This will have a class for the wrapper of container fluid. We'll add some padding on the y-axis of a value of 5, and we'll set this time the background to be dark. Inside of here, we need a row. So this is going to have the class of row inside of here. And this row then needs to have some nested columns. So first of all, we can add our title. Like the rest of the site, this is going to have a column width of 6. So call MD6. We can add the offset, which is a value of 3 to push this into the center, and also the class of text center 2. Nested in here, we can add our level 3 heading. Level 3 heading is for our price list text. And this also needs a class. Since we're using a dark background, we can add the class of text light. So there's our title. The next step is for our image. The image source is in the images folder. And this time it's the divider silver.png. The image classes. First of all, we need some padding on the bottom, value of 4, and also set this to be a width of 25% with W25. Give that a save and let's check this out. Inside the right tab, below the About Us text, we should now have our price list. And we're just missing the image off there. Let's check the images folder. So divider silver is there. Maybe we just need to save that. Okay, so it just wasn't saved after the image, and that's fine. Okay, so the next stage is to create a new row, and this is going to be for our massages treatment section, which is this first row here. This will have a image and then a unordered list on the right hand side. So just below this row, in fact, we'll add a comment just so it's clear what we're doing here. This is the closing container. Just above, we need our div, class of row, and then nested inside our columns. So the image is going to be larger than the unordered list. So I'm going to set this to be 8 columns wide. We've called SM8. And in fact, for the row, we'll also add some margin on the top and bottom to add some spacing. Then inside of our columns, we can add our image. The image provided for this one is called the massage.jpg. And the alt text. After the wrapper for the images, let's go down and create a second div inside of this row. And this div is going to be for the unordered list. So we've used up 8 columns of our row, so we can go ahead and use up the remaining 4. We've called SM4. This is going to take in a unordered list. But first of all, we need a title in a level 4 heading, which is this massages text just here. So add our H4. Massages as the heading. Then we can add our Bootstrap classes. The first one is going to be title. Title is not a Bootstrap class. This is a custom class which I've added in, and we'll use this in the CSS soon. Followed by a Bootstrap class of text center to push this into the middle. After this, we can add an unordered list, which also takes in some classes for styling. The first one is list group. Then after this, list group flush. And we'll take a look at what this does in just a moment. And then finally, text light. So I'm just going to add in some sample list items. The first one is just going to be massage 1. The Bootstrap classes for the list item is list group item. Then after this, we can add the span tags just after the name, and we can add a pricing. I'm going to add these in between the M tags, so it's emphasized or italic, then a dash, and then add a price inside of here. You can type more of these out, but I'm just going to paste in another 4, and go down here and just change the names. You can be more imaginative if you want. I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then take a look at this in the browser. Over to our project, and then refresh. Okay, so we've got our image on the left-hand side, taking up 8 parts, and then taking up 4 parts on the right-hand side is our unordered list. The text is a little bit difficult to see, but if we highlight this, we can see it is there, and we'll deal with this in the CSS in just a while. Let's move down and create the next 2 sections, which is this facial section here, and then the hair and makeup. So these next 2 sections will follow a similar pattern to this. So let's go just above our container here, and we'll create a similar section to this. Let's go and create our div with the class of row. This is also going to have a margin on the y-axis of 4. Then we're going to do the opposite of what we did here. Rather than having 8 columns on the left for the image, and then 4 columns on the right, we're going to do the 4 columns first, so we can add the unordered list. So a div, class of col, sm4, and then just below this, inside the row, we're going to add a second div. This one is going to be for the 8 columns. So col sm8, and then close this off. So the first section, which is 4 columns, is going to have an unordered list, just like we had here, and also a level 4 heading. So let's cut and paste these in. This one is facials. And then we can change the text below. Let's copy this and paste this in to each one. Just like that. You can change the prices if you like, but I'm going to keep it as this. Then inside of our 8 column section, this takes in our image. This image is going to be in the images folder, and this one is called facial.jpg. Save this, and then over to the browser. Reload the project. Scroll down, and there we go. Again, the images are there, but the text is a little bit difficult to see, and we'll fix this with a little CSS later. The third one down is going to follow the similar structure to our first row, with the image on the left and the links on the right. Let's go up to our massage section, and I'm going to copy this full row, and then paste this in just above our container. So first of all, the 8 column section at the top, the image for this one is cosmetics.jpg. We can change the alt text. The text for the heading is hair and makeup. And then add any text you like into these links. So just paste these in. And that should be it. Give that file a save. Then over to the browser. Reload. There we go. There's our 3 sections. And now we can go over to the CSS and do some styling for this. Let's go over to our custom.css. And we need to go outside of the media query. Let's add a comment. This is the price list section. Inside here, remember we had the custom class of title. We're going to set this title to be a color of goldenrod. And then after this, we can add the list group item. list group item, if we go over to the index page, this is the class which has been added to each list item. And what we're going to do here is remove this white background image so we can see the text. So to do this, all we need to do is set the background to be none. And we can also change the font size to be 1.1 ems. Save that and let's see how this looks. There's the background now removed for each list item so we can see our text. We did mention before about this extra class, if we go up, which is list group flush. So if we remove this from the cosmetics and then reload, down at the bottom we see the difference. This has the full border all around, whereas the rest just have the lines in between. Let's add this back in and then reinstate our project. So this is it now for this section. We'll finish off the homepage in the next video by completing the footer and also adding in our font awesome icons.